Hey everybody, it's your friend Kevin, and this is your vibe of the day. All right, I hope you're well. I hope you're rested. I hope you feel good about things as much as you can. And really, all of you random people out there that I don't know, that I'll never meet, and I don't know, some of you I do know, and some of you I will meet. Listen, blessings all the way around. I really don't know what theme I've got to come and speak with today, but I never really do know. I sit here every day and, or as much as I can. Worked on my website yesterday a little bit. I've got to speak to the designer today to have her input because there was something on the Soul Path portal that wasn't really sitting right with me, and I wasn't really sure what it was. That was Friday's energy, and of course Friday we was moving into the full moon in Gemini, whatever that means. I felt the pull as I do on most full moons, and according to some really good astrologers who I listen to, um, the full moon energy over the weekend was in Gemini, whatever that means. I think it was a polarity of those seesaw moments. You might be feeling one way at 10 o'clock and 10:30, it's another way, a bit like the two polar opposites. So if you've been feeling that, like, fabulous one minute and then ratchet the next, just know that it's just energy moving through you, things that are just happening. Cattywampus silliness. What else did I want to say? Oh, yeah, I'm looking at my little affirmations. One I got out that fell on the floor: luxuriate the day and luxuriate life. For you, what does luxury mean to you? When you feel luxurious or when you look at luxury, what does that feel like? What does that look like? And does it feel like, for me, it might be taking a huge bubble bath in something that smells exotic and fun. Um, Whatever that conjures up for you, get into the feeling of being and having this luxurious life. It is a challenge when we're living in, and I've said it so many times, it seems like it's a broken record that's stuck in the groove, to be bright, to be light, to be cheery, to be all these incredible things when the majority of the energy is so heavy and oppressive. It's not that you want to ignore it or walk away from it. It is that you really, or I can't speak for you, really want to lift it. Want to sort of pull the lid off and let the sparkle out. That's really it. I mean, honestly, I feel like sometimes I want to run around with a magical can of glitter and just spray it everywhere and say, listen, you need a bit of sparkle in your life. Yeah, good. All right. Deliberate creation is what that's about. Let's get over to what the fairies have to say. I'm enjoying this deck, by the way, all of you. Let's see. Okay. To my angels, archangels, ascended masters, fairies of all realms, light workers, thank you for stepping in, and thank you for bringing a bright and cheery message to everybody today to lift their hearts, lift their minds, lift their energy, pull them out from wherever they feel challenges and difficulties. Bring a card with a particular message of light, of love, of hope, of faith, all of it. Okay, let me just fan these out. Today I'm just going to pick one at random. Boop, 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 boop. Ooh, there you go. All right then, you want to come forward. Let's do this. Let's see what happens. The Eight of Winter, this is... well, you can't really see it. Let me see. Where's my little... there we go. My little lifter. There we go. I changed my lights around yesterday. I was taking some photos. Whoops, there we go. Well, maybe I'll do it this way. There. Pop her up in front of you. You see all that? See that? Yeah. So, number 8, number of infinity, number of... I love the number 8 because it's got that lovely flow about it. It just keeps going. It's sort of this never ending. You're in the groove. You've got it happening. It's all like, woo, yeah. Winter being simulated within tarot swords, thoughts, creativity, ideas. In this case, it's more reflection. What I'm seeing here is a message that says you've got what it takes, you've got the tools, you know what you're doing. Again, it's a reminder to believe in yourself. Think that if you've been thinking that you're powerless, if you've been thinking that you're oppressed, if you've been thinking that people are out to get you, give that up. They're not. A lack of self-confidence keeps you away from getting what you want. That's what I found most prevalent during the teaching process. I started teaching hairdressing somewhere in the early 2000s. And at the beginning of doing it, I thought, well, who am I to teach anybody anything? I mean, really, I was the most horrendous student in school. I actually didn't like school. You know, the idea, and I spoke about this before, sitting at a desk, watching somebody blab on about something that really I could care less about. I mean, I know that sounds a little bit, and I'm not knocking teachers. Gosh, I had some of the greatest teachers when I was a little boy. Miss Cole comes to mind. Miss Bowie was my first teacher. Mr. Hopkins. I didn't really much like Mr. Clinton. He was a little bit pitched up for me. It was like a little bit pulled in. I had a bit of a crush on Mr. Torrance. He was kind of a hot little thing with a military hairdo. Anyway, but I didn't really like school. Middle school, which is all did the cattywampus turning around thing when I was little. It all changed as it does. I don't really know what that was all about. I only remember two teachers there, Miss Curry and Sister Kathleen. That was it. And then we went on to this brand new upper school that got built. That was a complete and utter chaotic mess. You know, and that was at the time in my life where I was realizing I was a bit different. I was realizing that I was a bit pink around the edges, and and you know, people didn't quite know what to do with it. So there was a lot of bullying, but here's how I managed to get over it and get some self-confidence in that. I hung around with some of the, well, we might call them bad girls. Those of you that remember Grease, remember that character Rizzo, where she was just something, all of that? Yeah, that was my friends. It helped. Then I found my groove doing hair. I really did. And that's where the confidence kicked in. So, you know, fast forward, anytime that we're doing things in our life that's new and that's different, there's this bit of vulnerability. And what I learned probably in the last 8 or 9 years is there are things that aren't going to go right. Always. There are things that are going to be just left of center, twisted. It doesn't mean that it's a wrong thing. It doesn't mean that you've made a mess. Or maybe it is a mess. The challenge is when you take that on, when you set that in motion that everything you do is this way, or everything you do is a mess, or everything you do isn't any good, or you're not any good. And then the worry kicks in. And the worry can sometimes become this naughty little friend that kicks in right before you're supposed to do something brilliant. There's a saying that the biggest achievements in life come after you feel like the biggest flop. I know that to be true. I know that whenever I felt like I'm standing in the middle of the road with my pants hanging around my ankles and not for no reason the elastic broke, I'm like, oh, good gosh, what am I going to do? And then all of a sudden, turn a corner and wallop, you're in the middle of something pretty substantial. That feeling. You know, the feeling of you want to learn to be this potter and you've got the clay on the wheel and it's turning around and the thing goes out of control and then there's all this muck and fluff flying everywhere. Well, then the next thing you know, you put it all back together, you take a breath, and then wallop, here comes something incredibly beautiful. You know, life is not supposed to be this red carpet that everybody pretends it is. I've got a little block somewhere in my room that says, I hope your life turns out to be as fabulous as you pretend it is on social media. Because that's what it is, right? Faking it until you make it. Well, that's life. Not that we're faking life. I think authenticity is what people strive for, to be real, to be themselves. You know, not so, well, I'm not uptight. I mean, I have been, but that was somebody else's expectation of me. I think when I landed in my feet, which is according to what was it that Leslie Jordan says? He came out of the womb and landed in his mama's high heels. I think that's fantastic. I love that little man. Um, he's a fella. Go look up Leslie Jordan on Instagram. During the pandemic, he kept people rolling in the aisles laughing because he was just so light. He's just this beautiful light spirit. Um, so here we are, the 20th of December. Let's see what the book has to say. Discover common bonds. So many people have lost their families, the man said to me. I have, but I'm beginning to discover that I'm part of a larger family too. I'm beginning to see my connections to people all over the world. We all have people we love deeply and dearly, those people we call our family. We have blood ties, genetic ties, long-term relationships with people in our life. But as we open our hearts, we'll discover a family too. We have a kinship with those we've never met, even if they live in other cultures. We share many of the emotional responses, the experiences in our lives, even though our journeys may be taking place on different parts of the planet. If we study history, we will see our connection to those who have lived here before. The hardships they experienced, the lessons they had to face, were similar in many ways to those we face today. Lessons repeat themselves. The ones that seem true last. That's why they're called universal truths. What are you going through in your life right now? Don't feel you're the only person. Open your eyes, open your heart, and your connections with your larger family. Let them share their stories with you. Let them share their strengths, their hopes, their fears, their joys. Stop looking for what's different and what makes you separate and apart. Go on an adventure of discovering your common bonds. You're not alone. We're in this together. That's why it's called universal love. You know, let me just say this before I let you go. Each and every experience that you're having at the time that you're having it, if you pay attention to the experience of the person, whatever you're doing, and you get present to that experience, doesn't matter whether you're buying a card at a card shop, grabbing a cup of coffee, I don't know, cleaning with other people. Those experiences that you have, those connections that you have, those brief moments where you say hello, hi, how are you, what's going on in your world, those things are experiences have this opportunity to go boop and lift and shift and change and alter the experience for you and whoever that other person is. We've lost this ability to decide, listen, I am who I am, you are who you are, let's just have a good time and see what happens. Thankfully, we're now moving into a culture where folks are being who they want to be, whether they decide that they'd like to be known as a certain gender type. I find that fascinating, but it took me a while to get my head around it. You know, when you're born away and you're told this is it, you're this, you're that, you're this, you're that, the labels, the boxes, the identifier things. And to be middle-aged, which I am, and to watch this explosion of individuality for me is like, whoa, this is something else. And I do know within myself, I got some prejudices that like, ooh, where did that come from? It's those little quirks. I like to call them stains on my soul. And this is the opportunity right now, here in this world, while my spirit self is hanging around in this physical self, to scrub them clean. Not just scrub them clean for me, but scrub them clean for the ancestors that I'm now representing. Anyway, listen, my friends, until next time, love, gratitude, and thank you so much for tuning in and, giving me a like, whatever they do on Facebook. They want people to pay attention. That's my intention, to take the day and twist it up. Right, lovies. Bye, darlings.